from St. George, Utah.
So, we are back at the wood shop. And you can probably tell we've done a little bit to the van since we last recorded. That's because we're doing the flooring next. That's the next big project, and that's what this video is going to be about.
Yay!
And so we've already done a little bit to it. You can see we've installed some sound deadening on the floor. You can probably see in the video some of the shiny stuff on the floor. The whole process started with taking out the wall panels. After that, we rolled up the mat that was on the floor already, and it was all dirty under there, so we swept it up and we wiped it all down with the help of my mom and dad. They were here to help with that. After that, we went ahead and started cutting and installing the sound deadening stuff.
Yeah, and we still need to put some sound deadening stuff on the wheel wells, which we'll do today.
This is what the sound deadening material looks like.
Nice and shiny.
Some of the strips are narrower than these rollers allow for. So my dad had the idea to use my skateboard up there.
I'll demonstrate.
And just use, yeah. Now recording. All right, really quick, just wanted to go over a little bit of our game plan for the rest of the installation of our flooring. And I have this little piece of, it's just a piece of wood, but it's going to represent the foam insulation that we have. I also have this small piece of lattice. It is 1/4 inch thick. It's a vinyl piece that's just pretty much just a universal piece of trim that you can use in different applications. And we also have this Loctite adhesive. And so in the van, there are, if you come down here, there are these high points and low points throughout the length of it. And these are structural. They help with the structural integrity of the van and make it stronger. But with the foam that we have, if you can imagine it sitting across this, you can see there's a gap there, and as you step on this, it is likely to compress a bit. The foam that we have is a 15 psi. It has a compressive strength of 15 psi. And on top of that, there is going to be sheets of plywood above it, which is going to help disperse the weight across the foam. However, as an extra precaution, we are going to be using a combination of the sound deadening material, this adhesive, and the lattice to fill in the space here and provide the extra support for that foam, so that over the entirety of our time in the van, it's not going to give way to any kind of unnecessary flexing and compressing. So how it's going to go is, first we have the sound deadening material here. Then after that, we're going to apply the adhesive, and then on top of that, the strips of lattice that are going to act as spacers. And with those combined, if you come a little closer, it should make the space between the high points in the van fairly level, and the foam will be able to sit across the top evenly, like so.
And these are the next steps we're gonna take with the floor, and you're gonna watch some time lapses now. So, have fun. We made progress on the van. So, last time we videoed, we just had the sound deadening stuff down. Then we had Christmas break. Then last night, we cut the lattice pieces to size to fit in each groove. There were some we had to cut in half, then put adhesive on the lattice, put the lattice down, press it down, and just kept going. We started from one side and then worked all the way to the other side and tried not to walk over it because it was really slippery. Some of the little pieces would just slide everywhere. And that's where we left off.
Okay, now we get to the point of the video that most people think of when they think of installing a van floor, which is getting some plywood and some insulation and scribing out the entire floor to put those things in. So here we got some 9-ply Baltic birch plywood. It's really high quality. It's going to be nice and strong, very supportive. And then we also have this Foamular NGX. It's 1 inch thick. It's the R value R5, and it's got, like I said before, it's a compressive strength of 15 psi. So right now we're just going to lay out the floor. You can see we have it over here. This is actually something that came with the van when we got it, which is super convenient.
Very convenient.
This is the front here, and it's pretty much exactly what we need as a stencil for our insulation and plywood that we're going to be laying down. And then hold on one second. Okay, ready?
No, it does not stop it.
Except for one thing, which it doesn't extend back over the rear step of the van as much as we'd like to. So I just made this cardboard cutout to finish the stencil. It's pretty much going to go here, and we'll use this in addition to the rubber mat to complete the whole stencil.
Oh, this is heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy. Right there. Okay, so here you can see we have it laid out, and obviously the sheets of plywood and foam that we have are not long. Have from the side, and we'll use that to put along the front. Just got to make sure it is enough. So here we have about 27 inches, and here we have 27 inches. Wow. Plus we have some extra space down there, we can scoot it down.
That's true.
So it's probably a little bit less than 27 inches that we need to make up. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, dinner tonight, we got some leftover pizza and some canned chicken on top. Perfect.
And then I'm gonna have some nachos. So this is the finished product of my dinner. It's leftover breakfast food on top of chips. So breakfast nachos for dinner.
It is about 7 o'clock now, And we are gonna call it because we want to go climbing.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna pick this all up again tomorrow. In the morning, we'll run to Home Depot and grab some primer and some exterior paint. Then we'll come back here and we'll sand all these subfloor pieces of plywood and apply the primer to it. We'll let that dry and then we'll paint them all with exterior paint. We will also be cutting the rest of the foam board to the same shape as these. But this is what it looks like right now from the very front of the van. Coming back here. And that's it. All right.
See you tomorrow. More progress will be made tomorrow.
So I wanted to point out one thing here that we've done as we lay out the plywood onto the foam. And in all of the seams, we have offset the seam from the foam and the seams between the plywood sections just about by like 2 inches. And we do that for a couple reasons. One is to help with the weight disbursement in the sections that are in between the panels. If the seams were exactly lined up, then it wouldn't disperse the weight as well on the foam. And then a second reason that we're doing that is because when we get to the point of adhering the foam to the plywood, it'll also give us a place to attach the sections together by being able to put a bead of adhesive on the underside of this plywood that will attach to this section of the foam. So hopefully that makes sense. So I might have mentioned some of this before, but I just wanted to emphasize the fact that a lot of the things we're doing are not necessary or like required. The floor that we're building though is going to be very strong. It's going to last forever. It's going to have lots of airflow underneath it. It's not going to squeak when we're driving around or walking around on it. And it's just going to be a really solid, well-built floor. But that being said, a lot of the things that we have, like the sound deadening or the lattice spacers, or like the plywood we have is a 9-ply Baltic birch plywood. So it's super strong and stuff, and we're also going to be painting that with an exterior paint to keep it safe from any kind of moisture and that kind of thing. All those things, or a lot of those things, are not necessary, and you can get away with doing a lot less. It just kind of comes down to what you want to do, the amount of time you want to spend on it, and what your needs are. Which is one of the cool things and interesting things that we have learned about, or throughout this build process, is that it's not like building a house where there are all these, not that I've ever built a house before, but there's not like all these codes that you need to go by, that need to get passed off, you know. It's like, you know, kind of how much time you want to spend on it. And so, although a lot of this stuff is not completely necessary for us, we just really want to have a solid foundation, and we don't want to have to go back down the road and realize we'd messed something up and have a mess to clean up after that. And I hope Michelle and I both hope that you guys are finding this stuff interesting and hopefully able to take away some stuff that you might be able to apply into your van and see some of the things that we are deciding to do, and maybe incorporate them into your own build, or the things that you don't want to do that you realize that, you know, it's
We weren't gonna have enough paint, so we went back and got some more, and hopefully we have enough now.
Okay, they've all gotten the first coat. Now we just gotta let it dry and we'll flip them all over and paint the other side. And then we'll do it all again to give it all a second coat. So while we are waiting for the paint to dry on the plywood inside, we are going to start working on something else. And I'm going to do the best I can to explain my logic and why I think this is a good idea. So here I have a piece of the plywood for the subfloor and a piece of the foam insulation. And we're at the back of the van. And the back of the van, as well as the sliding door, are the two areas where there are going to be the exposed edges of both the insulation and the plywood. As I've said before, one of the main purposes of the plywood is to disperse the weight across the foam so that the foam doesn't compress and lose its insulative value. So my thinking is, in the center of the van, for example, if I push in the center of this board, it's going to disperse the weight across the bottom on the foam a lot better than if I put all the weight on the edge. There's not going to be as much weight disbursement. And so my thinking is, in the back of the van and on the side, there's going to see a lot of traffic. When we're reaching in the back in the garage space to grab stuff, we're going to be kneeling on the edge here. And same with the side door. We're going to be walking in and out of there all the time. So I wanted to come up with a way to provide support in those two areas that are going to see a lot of foot traffic. So what I'm thinking of doing is along the edge of the back here, and then also along the edge of the side sliding door across the top there and across the edge of the bottom step. These are the areas that I would like to add a piece of supportive trim. So here's what I'm thinking. We have the foam and the plywood that are going to be pretty much glued together with an adhesive to keep them from moving around. Once we do that, we'll be able to flip it over, and I'm thinking we will be able to cut away the edge of the foam here. If you can imagine, this is the edge that needs to be supported. We'll cut in about 1 inch across the whole length of the edge we want to support, and we'll replace that space with a piece of wood. The piece of wood will be about 1 inch thick, just like the foam is. And we will either glue it or maybe screw it in from the top, or maybe both. Once we do that, we'll be able to flip it back over. And now the edge will be supported by the wood and not just the foam. So maybe this angle will give a better visual. Instead of the edge of the foam coming right up to the end of the plywood, basically what will happen is this will be further back and the plywood will stay in the same place, and this space here will be filled in with a piece of wood. And as you step on this or crawl in here, the weight will all be pushed down on that piece of wood and not just the foam. So again, this is one of those things that probably isn't necessary, but we're doing it anyways. So basically what we're doing is we are using walnut. We're going to make some panels out of walnut that we'll then be able to shape and cut to the shape of the edges that we're trying to make. And the planks of walnut that we have, they're all just under 1 inch thick, which is a little bit of a problem because we need them to be 1 inch thick to match the thickness of the foam insulation. So what we're going to do here is we have one panel for the back of the van, one panel for the sliding door part of the van, and then we've doubled each of those panels. So that way we can glue these together here, and then we'll glue them together to these ones as well, and then we'll plane everything down to be 1 inch thick. So it's a bit of a process, a little bit excessive, but it's not too bad. got 1 panel, 2 panel, and then 2 more panels down there.
Now that the panels are dried, we have them laid out, flipped over, ready for us to put this adhesive on it to attach the foam pieces that we have cut out, and then we'll go from there.
When you lay like that, reminds me of a love I've never had. If loving's wrong, what's a boy to do? I ain't scared of death, I'm scared of losing you. You ain't out of my league, you're out of this planet, but damn it if you ain't drilled into my skull. Take a trip uptown to clear you out of my mind. You're like sandpaper, the more I try you bind. Winter was a drag, the spring was a friend.
Okay, so we got everything glued down with the adhesive, and now we have all this stuff on top of it to weigh it all down. Apparently, this stuff takes 7 days to cure, so, something like that. We probably won't wait that long, but we just have some stuff weighing it down to compress it for the night, and we'll move it in the morning before we start work.
And this, and this, our batteries, 80 pounds each. It's a great weight on our subfloor, and we'll be back in the next couple of days.
And they've been trying to smooth me out for 27 seasons now. For 27 seasons.
When I close my eyes, I think of times I could smell and hear that northern thunder. Every pine has its time to outgrow the rains of days of younger. I'll be still at the cutting mill, just make me a roof you can hide under. Take a trip uptown, clear you out of my mind. You're like sandpaper, the more I try you behind.
Winter was a drag, but spring was a friend. I'll love you till the summer comes back again. And they've been trying to smooth me out for 27 seasons now. For 27 seasons. Take a trip uptown, clear you out of my mind.
I think it worked out pretty well.
Yes. Now when you use the step, the weight goes to the support piece. And it protects the foam.
Alright guys, that's where we're going to end this video. There's still a few things we need to do to it, like put some trim on the edges and stuff, but we'll leave that for later. Hopefully you guys are able to find some of the stuff we did informative. let us know if there's any other stuff you want us to include, like making those pieces of support trim for the edges was kind of fun. It was kind of unique little side project.
Yeah.
And we enjoyed that, and so I guess let us know if that's interesting to you, if you want to see more of that, because it's kind of something that we're able to apply from our day-to-day job into the build with the shop and the skills that we're learning here, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's super fun. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for getting to this point.
Yeah.
If you're still here.
Yes.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention also is that my parents are here. And I didn't even mention that earlier, but you can see in the videos that they are here and there helping out with some of the stuff.
Yeah.
So big thank you to them as well.
Yeah. We're glad to be done with this part. Excited to move on to the next.
Anyways, we're super happy with how it turned out, and we're excited to get a move on to the other things coming in the van. And hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you again so much for watching.
We thought we'd show you what we've been up to at the shop. I've been working on some chests. There's another one as well, but I've made the boxes for them. Ethan's put the log stuff on it. I've made the the panel for it. And we got log handles for each drawer front. The drawer fronts are super artsy. We got these notches in them, and I scribe the sides to go with the flow of the logs, the curvature of the logs on each side. So I'm not done sanding all of them, but these are all of the fronts that I've made for both chests. I'm working on a cutting board for my brother-in-law for Christmas. It's a kind of a mess and it looks crazy right now. Different types of wood. It'll be colorful, it'll look good when it's finished.
I've been working on this bed for the past week. It's a twin on the top, like an extra large twin size bed. And then over here is just a regular twin size bed. And it's cool because there's like a little hangout area underneath. And we got like a ladder on the side and on that side too. Yeah, and then there are also all these little end tables that we've been working on. We don't have the tops done for them yet. That's pretty much it, what we've been up to.
Yep. Thanks for watching.